What were the real-life Cestus? Hey there guys! So, with the upcoming historical/fighting seinen manga, Cestus, getting an anime adaptation, I figured it would be really fun to explore the titular invention and its use in ancient Roman gladiatorial fights. In this video, I will look into the early iterations of these deadly boxing gloves and use panels from the manga to give you a visual representation while also judging the accuracy of said manga series. The pankration, the Greek pygmachia, and the predecessor of the Cestus. Humans have been using their fists to fight, well, since time immemorial, and boxing as a sport has been popular with many cultures throughout history. If we were to trace the origins of the Roman Cestus, though, and the gladiatorial sport of pugilatus, we would find that their design was based on a Greek variant. Centuries before the first gladiatorial boxing match, one could observe numerous matches of pygmachia and pankration all throughout ancient Greece. Although pygmachia, literally meaning a battle of fists, was closer to what we know today as boxing, it wasn't as popular as the Olympic sport of pankration, which was a sort of fighting match that included kicks and grapples as well as boxing. Up until the 4th century BC, these Greek athletes were wearing strips of leather and animal hide around their knuckles for better protection. These were called imantes and had a more defensive use more than anything. After 400 BC, though, the Greeks introduced a variation of these early boxing gloves that included small metal balls that would be wrapped within the imantes, making the punches heavier and more offensive. These were the predecessors of the Roman Cestus. The Cestus. Design. Now, after the Romans conquered Greece, they took a liking to the various ancient Greek sports and festivals, and decided to incorporate some of them to their own culture. The Roman pugilatus was a type of gladiatory sport, close to pygmachia and modern boxing. The titular manga Cestus, with a V, has many accurate depictions of such matches, and its entire narrative revolves around a young slave who takes part in brutal fights in order to be able to free himself one day. And this is the single greatest difference between pugilatus and the Greek sports that preceded it. The vast majority of the contestants were slaves who were frequently forced to fight to the death in order to please the Roman audience. And here's where the cestus come into play. The cestus were ancient boxing gloves made from ox hide and equipped with metal balls, iron bars, and even spikes protruding from the leather with the intention of maximizing the damage. Apart from these additions, the ancient Romans extended the strips of leather and metal bars to cover the fighter's arm to the elbow. This was done to allow fighters to use them in order to defend themselves from incoming strikes. The Cestus manga does a phenomenal job at portraying how the cestus would look when worn as well as unequipped. This is pretty accurate, so check. The Roman cestus were by all means a true weapon. One powerful strike from a fighter wearing a cestus could easily tear off flesh, maim and disfigure the opponent, and sometimes even break bones. The cestus were built to provide a blood sport. That doesn't mean that every fight resulted in one of the slave boxers dying. I mean, the slaves were an expensive commodity after all, but it was very common for one or even both of the slave boxers to leave the arena having lost an eye, with broken jaws and ribs and other serious injuries. The manga does depict that fairly accurately, with chapters where one of the boxers is left in a pool of his own blood, and many older boxers sport an eye patch or broken limbs. There were very few rules regarding the pugilatus matches, namely no biting or wrestling, But other than that, anything was fair game. Hitting the opponent in the genitals, the eyes, the back, or even punching him when he was down, all of this was A-OK. Again, the Cestus manga highlights all these points, and if you want to get a clearer image of these matches, you have to give it a look. In popular media, the Cestus has appeared in a couple of video games, namely in God of War 3. There, it is a weapon called the Cestus of Heracles. Although there, the Cestus are depicted as humongous iron gloves. If you want to learn more about this manga, then check out my Cestus playlist and my Who Was the Real Emperor Nero video, which should be coming out soon. As always, don't forget to hit like and smash that subscribe button. Have you read this Cestus manga, and are you interested in seeing a series about ancient Roman gladiatorial matches? If you like historical seinen manga, I've made a ton of videos about shows like Arte, Vinland Saga, and others, so yeah, give these videos a watch as well. Have an amazing day, guys, and, well, see you in my next video. I don't know what to say, man. Fellow Cestus, it doesn't make sense. Fellow gladiators, I guess.